All right, I think we're recording right about now. Are we recording on the video side? All right, cool, great.
Sweet.
Hello. Another glorious episode of the Mental Threads Podcast, episode 157. Today's date is August 3rd, 2024. I'm here with the Sam Dinovo, if you'd like to say it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, great. Yeah, Sam Dinovo is an artist from Charlotte. We met at the Charlotte Spark in September last year.
Yeah, it was September.
Yeah, and that's where I met other artists like Queenie Love and Hadix and Solus as well. It's great to see how Charlotte is growing. How are you feeling today, sir?
I feel pretty good, honestly.
Wonderful. Okay. Since then, that was back in September and everything. And today, we're in August right now. So, damn, we're almost like a year
It's
removed.
almost been a year. That's crazy.
Yeah, you're going to be showing up at the next Charlotte Spark?
Yeah, I don't know if I'll be performing, but I plan on being there just because the last one was so fun. And it was such a good, that was actually my second, well, no, that wasn't a 30-minute set, but that was my first ever, I guess you could call it a festival. You know what I mean? So there was so much, opportunity there and just so much, good energy. And, that was one of the biggest, I would say staple performances in my, performing career. So
yeah, and it's just like how Trey Rhodes actually brought that whole thing up, and it was he's really
Such
dope.
a good dude.
Had him on the podcast too.
For real?
Yeah, back then. But I was back in the audio area, and I was in the live. I need to get him on again and everything where we're going now and everything. He's an idealist. I describe him as an idealist because he actually made it happen and actually made it with the vendors and everything.
He works hard, really man. Cool. And I don't know Trey too well, but just off the few interactions I've had with him, he's an extremely positive dude, and like you said, he gets shit done. You know, am I allowed to cuss?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Okay. He said, "Fuck yeah."
Yeah, shit, all that.
All right, cool.
Yeah. Trey is very much an idealist for real, and he does work hard. I feel like dedication is very much a key word to him because he really sees the future and potential in Charlotte, and he's not even originally from Charlotte. I forget where he was from, but I know that he really sees Charlotte as his home now, and it's just I really praise to him for actually setting up the Charlotte Spark.
That's awesome,
and everything. So it's just I want to go deeper in your background. Where are you from, Sam?
So I was born in Columbus, Ohio, and then when I was probably about 7 years old, I moved down to South Carolina, and that's where I was raised at. And then I moved to Charlotte in about coming up on 3 years ago.
Oh, okay. So pretty recent, though.
Yeah, still kind of new. But I would say comfortable here now. You know what I'm saying? I've found my community and stuff, so it feels like home.
It's amazing when you find your soul tribe in a sense.
Yeah, it really is.
And could you really go into detail on your experiences from Ohio, or just what you remember from Ohio and how it contrasts to South Carolina and Charlotte?
Yeah, I don't really remember too much just because I was so young. I just remember being a playful kid. I loved football a lot. I was an Ohio State fan, still to this day an Ohio State fan. That's something that will never probably change about me. But I don't remember too much. We were a little bit closer to my family up there. I remember my grandparents. Just remember being in the early stages of school. But then coming to South Carolina, I remember the feeling of it being still warm in December. That was one of the first things I noticed because it was not like that in Ohio. There was snow and it was cold. But yeah, I can't really tell you too much of the differences. I guess maybe also the country music and just Southern accents and the yes ma'am, no ma'am. They're not too big on respect, at least from what I remember up north. Whereas here, I remember my mom and dad telling me you can get in trouble for not saying yes ma'am to your teacher. So and I was I remember thinking that was weird. I was okay, but
it's that Southern hospitality.
That Southern hospitality thing, which now that I'm older, I actually really appreciate it and respect it myself. I try to always be a respectful individual, especially to people who are older than me. So now I get it, but when I was younger, I didn't get it, and it also took me until I was in my 20s to get behind country music at all. I'm still not a huge country music fan,
but they're starting to boom now. Ain't it crazy?
There's a couple songs and a couple artists where I'm All right, I see y'all.
And
y'all cooking.
And another note, I noticed country music even nowadays is a little bit more healthier in terms of their environment. I feel like hip hop's a little bit more getting more and more. Well, it's been toxic, but it's like one thing I feel like that's one of the biggest contrasts. It's just like it's less toxic on the countryside of music and everything. Like they're all willing to collaborate and just clap for each other. I feel like we do the same thing too as hip hop, but it's like I feel like there's still a couple stragglers and everything, beef and everything like that, and stuff like that. I just really wish that hip hop could really kind of grow from that. You know, it's kind of been over 50 years and everything, 50 years of history. You know, let's just focus on just trying to help the genre.
Yeah, and that's why I gravitate towards artists who try to bring like fun back to hip hop and just like make like, because I think there's such a like with hip hop comes such a tough guy mentality. And I get that, but I also like the fun side and the lighthearted side of hip hop. That's kind of the energy I try to gravitate towards.
Yeah, we definitely need to bring those vibes back for real. I feel like Detroit dominates that, to be honest.
Yeah,
like, they're always
that's
having
what
fun.
I'm saying.
BFB the Pac-Man. I don't know if you listen to him and everything.
I think I've heard his music. Yeah,
he be making fun of himself as it be going on.
Yeah.
It's like, he's the guy who did the Free Joe Exotic song. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Yeah, and everything. It's just like stuff like that. I feel like Charlotte needs to take a note from that because we're still kind of growing in the hip hop sphere as a whole. Yeah, we're still a southern metropolitan, just like Atlanta. Right. But it's like I feel like we lack a whole lot of identity. The only face that we had was the baby, which we've spoken about earlier and everything. So it's like, what is your like thoughts in regards to the baby and just where he is in his career right now?
So when the baby first came out, like he had me in a headlock. Like I'm not even gonna lie. I remember just for like weeks, just like it was just the baby every day.
Really?
Because what I admired so much about him was his confidence. Like he had such like confidence and charisma, and like he knew who he was. And I was going through a time period where like I was really struggling with my confidence. I was like going through some like insecurity issues. So I would turn on his music and I would remember who I was by living vicariously through him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's just how confidence is. It's contagious when it's around, but only for people who really don't mess with themselves and don't really fuck with themselves internally. That's the only people that will kind of bother. Like if someone's confident.
Exactly.
And that's why I respected the baby as well. So it's just like I feel like he was like a very good pillar and really just kind of setting the foundation for putting Charlotte in the map as well.
Exactly.
Just kind of opening that floodgates. And like I feel like Lute's doing his thing too, for real. Like I saw his performance like I think during not just during Dreamville Fest this year, but even beforehand for an Assay wrestling event. So it's just like, I feel like those are the two people that I kind of see are just kind of out there.
I ain't never heard of the other one.
Lute, he's on Dreamville. He Goldmouth, basically.
Gotcha.
If you want to spend some time, I just definitely look over his music. I think his album, was it called Goldmouth too? Oh, let me just see. Let me just do a little bit of research real quick. A little bit of research. No. Oh, yeah. Lute West, like right here. Basically, this is IG, like right here. Goldmouth. That's what he calls himself.
Okay.
So it's like he works with J. Cole. And everything. He's part of the Dreamville type.
Okay, that's what's
as
up.
well.
That's what's up.
So he's from West Side Charlotte and everything. So it's like he has some really, really good songs out. A couple songs, just like you. A couple songs that that pretty much stand out to me because I met him like about this album was definitely called Goldmouth. This is the one. This is the deluxe version.
Okay.
So it's like,
okay, you're gonna have to send me that.
I'll send you the link.
I definitely, one thing I've picked up over the last year is just like I used to be so like I would only listen to artists that I knew I loved right away. Now over the last year especially, I force myself to listen to like a lot of artists, even if I might not like them like that, and then give myself the chance, because what winds up happening is like when you explore, you wind up finding a whole album of songs that wind up being your favorite songs, and you might have never like messed with them because you were just like, I don't want to listen to a new artist. I want to listen to what I know. So I've been forcing myself to like branch out. So send me that. I'll listen to the whole thing.
Oh yeah, sure. He has a couple songs to look out for. 100 is good. GED is really, really good. Eye to Eye is really, 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 really good. And also Overnight is good. Out of Sight is really good. And Finding Self. Those are like the couple songs you can really listen to. Those are the ones I really, really like.
Okay.
But it's like there's like 19 songs to choose from just from that album alone. I think he has some more projects coming up. He has some mixtapes out as well that you can pretty much look into. So yeah, he's from West Charlotte, so we gotta support. We gotta support whoever we gotta support in Charlotte and everything. So yeah, going deeper into your interests and your hobbies, what would you describe your interests and hobbies outside of hip hop?
That's a good, man. I get so focused on music. It's like I don't know what else there is. Interests and hobbies, like I don't know why this came to my mind, but I don't know if you've ever played spike ball.
Spike ball.
Yeah.
You know? Is it the one where you in the like that?
It's the circular net. You see it on the beach a lot. And then you have like 2 versus 2.
Oh, that's what it was.
I wish more people played spike ball because I love playing spike ball so much.
Oh.
I also love hooping.
Oh, like basketball?
Yeah,
You be going to the YMCA and the ball?
No, not the YMCA, but there's definitely a couple different places that I like, different parks and stuff I go to. I'm not like the nicest. I'm not going to be that guy that's like I could take anybody, but I just started kind of learning over the last like 3 years, and I love playing it. Like I love it. So I have fun with it. I have a couple of homies. We like meet up, and it's just a great way to like blow off steam and just get out of your head.
Yeah, I used to play basketball all the time. I need to get back into it.
Yeah, it's
bro.
fun.
Like, it's really good exercise, one, because you're using your full body too. But even on the side of that and everything, I really like basketball as well. And it's just like, with the Charlotte Hornets, I feel like they kind of changed management now. So it's like, and they're pretty much a young team so far with Miles Bridges, LaMelo Ball, and company. And especially with the new people that they've just drafted in there, one from France, I think, or was he like just French descent? I don't know what it is, but like I feel like there's a lot of potential there, and considering how they're just starting to change management now, that maybe they can be focused on actually investing in that town. I feel like Charlotte Hornets could really get something going, like in this decade. You know what I mean?
And I'd love to see them do something, especially while I'm living here. You know what I mean? That would be so cool.
No, so for real. And when it comes to basketball, are there any teams that you really like, or any players that you really
and that's like? I haven't really gotten into basketball too much, like watching it, which I know is like a lot of people are like, bro, what? Like, you know what I'm saying? But like for me, I've just always been a college football person. Like I love Ohio State football. Like when it comes college football season, like if I can, unless, cause sometimes work schedules and stuff will prevent it. But every Saturday I'm gonna be watching my Buckeyes. So that's what I lean towards more. But I definitely do want to start getting more in tune with basketball, because, I want to be in those conversations and know like what I'm talking about.
Well, I'll tell you like this. I don't know everything about it, like off the jump, but it's like, I'm pretty close to it, because I feel like playing the video games really help too, like NBA 2K, especially NBA 2K11, 2K13, and 2K12. I feel like that's what kind of set the standard for me, on top of like watching the finals and just keeping up with like general news and everything. So it's just like, I would say just kind of just check out a couple games, maybe on your free time, or just look in some documentaries. 30s for 30s will really set you. Really, when you understand the history of something, whether it be hip hop or whatever, and just kind of see how things make and shake, you pretty much kind of see your place into it. Okay, I see why this happened. I see the politics how this happened. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like watching more documentaries. One of my favorite ones is the one where they do Magic versus Bird and everything. That 30 for 30 documentary, really dope. It talks about the Boston Celtics with Larry Bird and the rivalry between them and Magic Johnson of the LA Lakers and everything. Just fire. And then,
see, I'm a huge documentary person. Like I watch documentaries all the time. Because I love the truth so much. Like I love, and I think because my dad's a history buff, so I think I just have that, like, I love history. Like this really happened on the same earth that I'm on. Like it's so interesting. You know what I mean? So just, I'm gonna definitely have to check that out.
Yeah, definitely. The Magic versus Bird documentary is good. Pete Maravich is really good. He was a very good basketball player. Who did he play? I think he played for the Jazz. He was a really dope. And he played in the time before they had 3-pointers, and he would get like double digits and everything. There's a documentary on Bill Russell on Netflix as well. And in the meantime, you see a documentary about Shaquille O'Neal. That's really dope.
I remember seeing a documentary about like it was like some like infamous fight between two teams.
And
it got like real bad.
I think that's the one with Ron Artest of the Pacers. That was before he was called himself Meta World Peace. But it's like, dude was not on peace before that. He was definitely about war.
I forget what it was, but it was like a terrible fight broke out. It was like 50 heads deep. Like it was insane.
They had to shut it down. I forgot what it was or when that was, so I need to check into it as well. But just stuff like that. Documentaries are a very good way to get into it.
It's a fun way to learn stuff.
And do you currently have cable? You ain't got cable, right? You got streaming?
I got cable. I got Hulu, and I got Disney Plus, and I got Amazon Prime.
Yeah. Okay, what you can do is, because I got YouTube cable, YouTube TV, I forget what it was called. YouTube TV, and that's how I watch the Olympics so that's how I watch things like the finals and everything. So like if you want to work it into your budget and stuff, they may have a whole lot of things you can catch up and DVR the games too. So just maybe pick a team out. Charlotte Hornets is like that's always on the list. I'm a Charlottean. Just think like the Lakers, whatever, and the Clippers on the west side. Giannis Antetokounmpo like on the Bucks, and just things like down south in Texas. You got the Spurs, and we got the Mavericks as well. The Nuggets are also a really decent team to keep up with. It's always good to keep up with the top 10 and just kind of one that are a couple personal around the way. Also get you up to date with everything that's going on. With
my roommate is from Miami. He was born and raised there, so he's a Heat fan. So he kind of be talking to me about what's going on with them.
Their jerseys are dope, bro.
Yeah.
They're really,
and I know they're iconic. Like I know they're an iconic team.
And the South Beach colors and everything was a white, like light blue, light pink, and then like a little bit of white in it too. Yeah, they have some.
Wait for the Heat.
Yeah, they used to be black and red, but I think they got.
They changed it.
Yeah, I think it's South Beach. I don't know. They changed.
I've always known it to be black and red.
Yeah, that was the early day. I think they changed it. I think around the time where I think where Wade or Dwayne Wade retired or something like that in his final season. It's really, really dope.
I did not know that.
All right, but we can talk about basketball. They got to focus back on you.
For sure.
We'd like to speak on your Sicilian heritage, and from my understanding, you're 100% Sicilian.
No, so I'm 50% Sicilian. But my dad is 100% Sicilian.
Oh, okay. And your mom's like Irish, or
my mom's just white. I love my mom dearly, but she's just white.
Oh, okay.
But my dad's a full-blooded Sicilian man.
Okay, and how would that, from the experiences of having that connection back to your heritage of being Sicilian, how does it affect your everyday life and just the person that you are today?
Just passion. I'm just so passionate, and I'm very I'm a deep feeler. I feel emotions very deeply, and sometimes that can be kind of like a double-edged sword because I can be. Like on the good side, I can be real sensitive to what other people are going through. I can express myself incredibly well, and advocate for myself and advocate for other people. But then on the other side of it is like whenever I'm feeling something that isn't pleasant to feel, I feel it so deeply, and it can become kind of like toxic and poisonous to other people as well. So I'm just working on like controlling those emotions. But yeah, like I would say that would probably be the biggest thing, but just like certain things that my dad just taught me growing up, like some of the things that he was passionate about. Like he's always drilling it into my brain what my people went through, what they came from, because you got to understand, like Sicily is at the bottom of Italy, and Sicilians were kind of the poor working class of Italy. So they were Sicilians were very much treated how black people were in America, but in Italy. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I understood. Like I've read that even Italians were kind of discriminated against a whole lot when they're in America.
Dude, very bad.
That's very sad. I'm sorry that like the experience had to be that way. Like, but it's just like it's just I feel like that's the beauty about America as a whole. It's just like we begin to rely on each other the more we kind of grow with each other. Although in our past, there's a lot of uncomfortable truths that come with like discrimination, like you can't even drink out of the same water fountain. Like what kind
crazy,
of dumb, which is dumb as hell right now. But that just proves how much we've improved as a people.
Yeah, we've definitely America's definitely different.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
We have our issues, but we're working on it. We are working on it. But yeah, speak more in regards to like the whole Sicily. When I think about Sicily and like Italian heritage, I think about like mafia movies, like The Godfather or The Sopranos and things like that, which I really, really love those characters and these people and just like the history. I really like Mafia games, like Mafia 2. Like that was one I love that game. And then Mafia, I just got Mafia 3 a while ago, and like even the definitive version. So it's just like the history with that. It's just like in regards to like that image of like mafioso type of that image of mafioso Glandior or whatever.
It's hard, dude.
Yeah, so like would you say like do y'all embrace that type of image a whole lot, or do y'all just kind of look like that's
it was
not
a
us?
split from what I understand, right? It was a split because you had if I believe it was called the Black Hand, right? And so don't quote me on that because I might be wrong, but basically you had the mafioso, but it was like they would attack even their own people. So you had some people that were Sicilians that would try to be like, I'm not a part of this because they didn't agree with what they were doing. You know what I'm saying? But there is also, I will say, as a Sicilian who's a little bit kind of detached from the core of Sicily. You know, like I've never been there. I don't know exactly. I wasn't going through what they went through in Italy, and when they, you know, what forced them to come to America. I wasn't in there for any of that, so I can't, you know, say that I fully understand how they felt. But what I can say is, from my perspective, I definitely do kind of embrace it a little bit, because it's that it's almost a brand. Like the mafia has become like a brand. You know, it's gangster, but it's also like slick. You know what I'm saying? Like they dress smooth. Well, they have money. Smoothness is a huge thing with Sicilians. So, you know, I embrace it, but like obviously, you know, I'm not out here killing people and stuff like that.
Not making people sleep with the fishes. Or
but I think it's a really cool thing.
Very cool thing. Yeah, I think it's pretty dope as well, man. It's just like, you know, like Tony Soprano is like one of my favorite fictional characters, and like, you know, even Vito Scaletta and the Mafia games and just stuff like that. I just like, you know, you ever saw this like some Italian. I was like, oh, this is like a really cool guy and everything. You relate to them a whole lot. But I feel like that's just one of those like grandiose things we need to really connect with as a people as well, that it doesn't matter what your affliction is or what your color is and everything. Like we all got emotions, we all got feelings, so we all go through struggles in America as well. And I feel like we all just need to really just set those barriers down to really connect more as a people, you know, like whether if you're into anime a whole lot or if you're into like, you know, the mafia movies a whole lot, you know, there's always a whole lot to be inspired from art like that, regardless of where the origin is. And so on. So it's that like
really cool.
Going into life as a Charlotte artist, like the pros and the cons. What would you say is the pros of coming up as a Charlotte artist? You identify as a Charlotte artist, correct?
Yeah, I definitely do.
Yeah, and now what would you say is the pros in regards to that is?
I would say the pros is that the community is just so like supportive. And there's opportunities to collaborate. You got to keep in mind, I'm coming from being an artist in a city where there was no like sense of community, and there was no like supportive nature at all. Like it almost felt like there was an animosity between the small amount of artists that there was, which is like, we're so small. We should like, it took me forever to, I never found a show in Columbia, South Carolina. Never. Dang. You know what I'm saying? And I lived there for years. I was an artist there for years. Never did a show the whole time I was there. Came to Charlotte. I've done so many more shows. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't even describe to you how many more shows I've done here. So I love coming up as a Charlotte artist. I love the talent that's here. I love that it's not like the biggest city in the world, but it's big enough that you can always have something new to do as an artist. You can always have a new interview. You can always have a new song to collaborate on. You can always have a new show. There's always something that makes you feel like you're progressing and like going forward as an artist.
And the beautiful thing about it is that we have yet to really catch on as a city for real. So it's like, oh, hold up. Gonna close in 20 minutes? Okay, good. I was actually worried about that. I was like, oh, did we reach 20 minutes yet? We have this thing going on where when it reaches 20 minets, it's like a little space and everything. So it's just like, that's why we gotta slow the interview down. Just let me know when it comes back on. It's all right. This happens all the time. Like got 20 minutes, like 20-minute increments.
So did we miss some of what we just talked about?
Oh no.
It's all recorded.
It's definitely recorded, definitely on voice. It's just the video part of it is just like this little intermission, or it's like, you know,
gotcha,
you'll see once you see the videos, you pretty much understand what I'm talking about. Like literally, like it doesn't take away like from the real sound of the video. It's, you know that cigar? You want to just pause the recording right now? All right, cool, no problem.
Sweet,
no problem. Recording again. And it's the video's on now? All right, cool. So back on the cons of being a Charlotte artist. I know we're really pretty much speaking about like, we have yet to set up like a motion and a wave and so on. So that's what I really, really like about Charlotte as a whole. It's really just like we're still an underdog city. We're still trying to pretty much find our motion and set up our momentum as a city. And I feel like we can definitely get that fulfilled sometime in this decade. But on the cons of being a Charlotte artist, what would you say would be the cons?
I think just agreeing with what you just said. Like there's not enough of a spotlight yet. So it's like, which that might be a good thing. You know what I mean? Like it's all in divine timing. But I think like sometimes it can kind of be frustrating because you put out like your best work and you feel like this is the one. And then you put it out. And it's just like there's really no traction on it. You know what I mean? So like maybe just like translating from a position where we're a supportive community and we have an audience outside of ourselves.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
So I feel like it's important to really set up shows outside of Charlotte to be like, oh, wow, this is what these Charlotte artists are on. I need to check in, see what it is. And then now it's like we have multiple faces. So it's just like, I feel like as a community, we can definitely achieve that. Like in the next couple years, it shouldn't even be an issue really. Right now, we just got to set that foundation and just kind of take it from there. So
that's definitely one of my missions is I want to start performing out of state and just seeing other opportunities that are away from here,
Oh yeah, I can definitely see if I can help you with that. Like I spoke earlier about Crowd Freak and everything. You can definitely see if you can reach out to Curtis of Crowd Freak and everything and see what opportunities might lay there, because they got plenty of festivals from they got the Backwoods and Bonfire Festival, which you've seen earlier. I showed you the video on that.
That looked cool.
And then they got a 420 Fest as well. Okay. So it's like a lot of it's gone pothead. But they also got something in October called Scary Hours and everything. It's like a Halloween themed fest. So it's like they have multiple festivals.
That seems like it'd be for you, right? Because I saw your shirt.
Oh, yeah.
That sounds like your style.
No, I just really like this show. I saw somebody else. I just looked it up on Amazon. I found it. It's funny. I actually came from Collecticon and everything. I got multiple compliments on it as well.
Yeah.
Where the Yin Yang Twangans were performing at.
Oh, that's what's up.
It's really, really dope. But yeah, I definitely feel like it could definitely get set up. One of the major cities I want to reach out to is Detroit, like I said earlier. St. Louis is a city I want to definitely reach out to, because they're kind of booming with a lot of their artists, Sexy Red and so on. Yep. I want to see what the climate is look like in Washington, D.C., because there's always people coming in and out of D.C.
I've heard a lot about D.C.
Yeah, like Wale and everything. And I know Logic is from Baltimore area.
Okay,
yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he is from Maryland area. And it's just like places like New York, but I feel like New York's too big. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just too much going on.
Yeah,
too saturated. I feel like Atlanta would be some place to really check in with, for real, because it's like right next door and everything. And pretty much as a southern metropolitan city, I feel like there's a lot we can learn from places like Atlanta or Detroit and so on. Miami's another one I really want to really check in with too.
Same here,
for real. So that's just one of the many ones. But if we were to digress and everything, what inspires you as an artist?
What inspires me as an artist? I think real life situations, things that I go through, where I come out of those situations victorious or just learning something new. And another thing is just other artists. Those would probably be my main two.
Oh, okay. And if we were to go deeper in, like, who are the artists? I know you mentioned earlier that you really like JID and everything.
Yeah, JID, man, I love JID.
Yeah.
So I knew you were gonna ask this question, and I was actually mentally preparing for this question before I got here.
It's all right.
So like I have like my first influences that got me into rap, and then I have like more current, and so they kind of change.
Yeah, same. You know what I'm saying? You gotta explain. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Know what's up. Yeah. So like, are you looking for like the people who got me into it, or are you looking for the people who are currently right now inspiring?
Just a bit of both, like whatever. Just hey, free range, man. Yeah. No big deal.
So I think like the most obvious one that people can kind of tell when they see me is like my first main influence was Mac Miller. And people can see, you know what I'm saying?
Rest in peace, Mac Miller, bro. He is so dope.
Yeah, he was amazing, man. And he kind of raised me in a way. Like he helped me develop my personality. He helped me develop my like writing style and just like some of my swag. And some of those early guys, just that whole era was like Mac Miller, Kid Cudi, Joey Badass, A$AP Rocky,
yes,
you know, just that whole wave.
What about Wiz Khalifa?
Of course,
I know you know Wiz Khalifa's gotta be.
How did I leave that out? I still love Wiz to this day.
Yeah, bro, like Pittsburgh, like literally Mac Miller and Wiz Khalifa, bro. Yeah. It's just like they're just what I really like about both of them. It's just like they never have to push no like thug or gangster like drug type thing. They're just weed and everything.
That's what I was saying.
And that's what
the
I
type
really
of energy that I've always gravitated.
And they evolved over time, which I really, really like. If it's just like if I have like a career, I hope it kind of like mirrors that in a sense. It's just like I ain't gotta be the biggest ever, but just like let me build a brand that's like so good that it's like it changes over time. And I feel like on Mac Miller it was more the artistic side, whereas like Wiz Khalifa was able to reach heights and billions of streams, even on from the Fast and Furious soundtrack. Yeah, no, for real. And I know you went into like Joey Badass and like, what was the other one you said?
I said A$AP Rocky.
A$AP Rocky too.
A$AP Rocky, man. Especially with Rocky, that's where I got my swag from. Yeah. And he had that chopped and screwed sound, you know what I'm saying?
That Houston sound, bro. Dude. That was the blog era, bro. The blog era was so amazing, bro. Oh, man. We didn't know how good we had it, bro. I had that piff. I used to download everything. Tyler, the Creator, Joey Badass, Capital C's, Pro Era. It was just Flatbush Zombies. Bro, a whole Flatbush Zombies come back, bro. Like,
Top Dog, you had Absol, you had Kendrick, you had like Isaiah Rashad.
Isaiah Rashad, dude. Yeah, we can go on and on about it, but in terms of being more current and everything, like who is currently inspiring?
So currently, right now, I have a couple of different main inspirations. Dude, it's so funny the people who will inspire me because it'll be the most unexpected people.
Oh, really?
Right. So like one of my main influences right now is Lil Yachty. And Concrete Boys, like the whole thing they're doing right now.
I can see that.
And they're down in Atlanta. I mean, obviously they're international, but they come out of Atlanta. So like you said, they're like next door. Yeah. Which is so interesting to me. I'm like, bro, this is happening right next door to me. And he specifically has been on a run recently, so it's just like it's awesome to just watch and be a part of. And like Yachty fans are all pretty locked in with each other. It's like, oh, you know too, and it's like, oh, you know what I'm saying. So
I don't listen to a whole lot of Yachty, but I do respect that he's really really setting into his brand and everything, and really having to expand as well. I really like the song he did with J. Cole and everything. So just taking
that's a great song. Yeah, you're talking about allegedly they figured out that I'm the secret recipe. Yeah.
Yeah, Yachty be dropping his like little gems every now and then. Bro. He really is. I know people kind of sleep on him because he's like he was in that 2016 class, so he would just automatically new ways.
And that's understandable, but he's recreated himself. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And I just think like I came to him just because I loved his personality and his content.
It's really the personality that's
what gets him. And then like over time his music, and then I was just like, nah, he's a good artist. And then so another one to just pivot real quick, and this is the one that shocked me, right? Because I hated this artist for so long. MGK.
Okay, I can see that.
I love MGK.
MGK wasn't really as bad as people put him out to be, though. Though I think the Eminem beef just kind of threw it, because as soon as people say, "Oh yeah, he beat you," but it's like we all knew that Eminem was gonna do something, right. It's just like, bro, but really I
still remember his diss being hard though.
It was hard. It wasn't like bad, like, dude, especially if you're going up against Eminem, you gotta come Eminem, with
you
it.
Gotta come hard.
And this was way better than whatever who's Coi Leroy's father again? I forget. What was
Coi Leroy?
No, Coi Leroy's father, like Benzino. Okay. Yeah, Benzino. Yeah, like it came harder than Benzino ever did. Wow. And it's just like, it's stuff that people kind of like have to look at his legacy, and it's just like, oh, like, he got beat by Eminem. Oh, he left and went to punk rock or whatever. Yeah. And it's just like, people got to change over time. People got to do whatever they can. I'm not a hater. I can't be a hater.
I wouldn't even say like, because a lot of people say that they're like, yeah, he just used rap to like get on, but I don't even think he's done with rap, bro. I think he's just exploring something else right now.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
And I'm an artist myself, and although right now it's mostly just rap, but I have plans to get into reggae or dancehall somewhere, or Afro beats. I already have like a couple beats saved around I'm thinking about using for future projects. Like, that's how you stay from being stale or just, rigid. You got to be able to take and draw creativity from different platforms as well. And it's just like, that's the beautiful thing about hip hop, is that you can sample whatever sound to make it into hip hop, whether it be a reggae sound or whatever. So it just goes on forever, literally, when you think about it. But it's like, no, MGK, there's nothing wrong with MGK. I really respect his earlier work with like Lace Up and everything during that blog era. And what was that song he did? I know it was like, I don't know. Are you a wrestling fan by any chance? No, you're not a wrestling fan. Okay, we did like Invincible. That was that song. But yeah, that was a really, really dope song that I really messed with from time to time.
Yeah, see, I never messed with them at first and it was the same kind of way with Jack Harlow. Like, they both felt corny to me at first. And I also had people like kept trying to push them both down my throat. So I was just like, all right, bro, like, I don't like this music. And then with both of them, it switched, and like what I did was I just like opened myself up and was like, all right, let me just like see.
You got to.
And now with MGK, what I love so much about him is like I told you about, how I'm passionate, I'm Sicilian. So, when I get into my sad moments, I get real sad. And I feel like MGK is kind of like, he speaks in a way where it's like, I feel like he gets what I'm going through when I'm in pain. So,
oh, really? Okay, I didn't really get deep into his artistry. At least maybe I could check it out, so maybe I can find something for sure. But really, in terms of MGK as an artist, I feel like he's pretty valid. You know, really, I don't feel like his legacy should be stained because it's like, you know, because people have beef all the time. That even goes with even Drake too. Like even with the whole Kendrick situation, and that song was basically like, oh yeah, he lost the beef, and you know, just stuff like that. But you know, you can recover from stuff like that. Just as long as you have a decent amount of work to pretty much sit on, you're good. Yeah. And just keep going forward and keep pushing, you know. And that's just kind of how I see it, because it's just like, you know, this is music. You know, we put our heart and soul into everything, regardless of what somebody else's opinions might be. And it could be somebody on YouTube who freaking shops at Banana Republic. Exactly. And it's just like, it's not your opinion. Everybody's got one. Everybody's got one. You and me, we all got one. Right. So it shouldn't be held in such high regard unless it comes from a constructive source. And it's like you should listen to it. Yeah. But no, MGK is just fine, man. Is there any other influences from the current era that you would like to speak on as well?
XXX Tentacion. That's a huge one for me. Huge. Yeah.
Oh, rest in peace, X, bro. He would be so crazy right now if he was still alive. He would be so high up there, man. I just wish a whole lot of things didn't happen, especially with him dying. And I really wish he would have collaborated with Drake beforehand. And it's just, I spoke about it on a different episode. One thing I disagree with Drake, I really wish he would help grow that OVO thing like the way J. Cole did with Dreamville. You know, everybody's on in Dreamville. I just wish he would have did the same thing with OVO with artists like Quinn Miller that he worked with, or The Weeknd. I know he's about to drop a project with Party Next Door, but I feel like X could have really fit in with that if they would have collabed, because he's very harmonic when he sings a lot too. Yeah. So it's like I feel like that can kind of mesh well with that style while also giving like a freshness with like his own style as well outside of being harmonic. I feel like those are all you're gonna give.
I don't know if X would have wanted to do that though, because at least from what I've seen, he like really hated Drake.
Yeah, because like Drake, that's the thing, because you know, like I think he bit off his style, which he does a lot, you know. And instead of like biting off his style, you could have just did a remix with him. That's what I'm saying. I could have. We had no issues after that. Just put him on, bro. Like, come on now. Like, you know, songs like what he did with Block Boy JB, like Look Alive and everything. Like they stand the test of time. And it's just like if he would have just collaborated with the Block Boy JB or XXXTentacion a whole lot more, putting them on, that would have really helped build the brand of OVO and made it more stronger. Because outside of Drake, what else is OVO? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it's just stuff like that, you know. But talk more about how XXXTentacion has influenced you as an artist.
Yeah, so I actually did not discover him until he died.
That's okay.
I had somebody show me like his most popular song, which is Look at Me, before he died. And I remember I just wasn't in the same headspace. It was very lit and like almost like aggressive type energy. And I wasn't really feeling that at that time. Now looking back at it, I see how great of a song Look at Me is. But like then when like right when he passed, I had a great friend of mine named Cam. Shout out Cam. He put me on 17 and Question Mark, and I just was like, oh my gosh, dude. Like, I didn't know this guy was so talented and so vulnerable and so, like, amazing. And so, like, during that, like, year or two at college, like, those albums were on repeat. And then, like, I came back home from Nashville, Tennessee, which is where I went to school, and they were still on repeat. And now it's been even more years, and they're still on repeat. And it's just, like, back to that same point with MGK, like when I'm really in my feelings, I just put 17 on. I just put Question Mark on. You know what I'm saying? And it's like there's not a single miss. There's not a single song that doesn't soothe me at my lowest moments, which is really hard to do, because even some of my favorite songs can't soothe me when I'm like at a certain type of like low. So.
What I really like about X was just his relationship with his fan base too. Like even when at his concert, he would always give like, you know, positive messages to his fans and everything. Oh, people will look back at his past. Oh, he was arrested. This happened. Blah blah blah.
Right. I feel he had a bad past.
Yeah, sure. And he was making an effort to really change it. You know, it's really just the effort you gotta respect. It's not the mistakes you make, but just the effort you put into try to correcting those wrongs. And I really respect him for that. So it's like when he passed, a lot of people say, "Oh, he was no angel." angel, blah blah blah. It's like, dude, come on now.
But it's still a person,
Still a person, and he was a father, and it's just like now he can't even raise his kid,
father,
and his son is even getting to the age now he's going to realize, why does everybody else got a father and I don't? And his ain't can, because a bunch of jealous people went and try to steal his money and everything and try to rob him. It's just like, dude, you can rob anybody.
It's wicked, man.
Literally, you had some type of jealous connection with this person. Stop trying to be like, oh yeah, it was just a job. Like, dude, come on now. Like, what? You can rob literally anybody, and it's just like there's
the last things I'll say about him too is like that inspired me to answer your original question is like, his performing. Yeah, like you said, his performances were like he would just speak like these like deep words while he was there, and like he is the reason that I winded up forcing myself to start doing open mics, which got me introduced into the music scene in Charlotte, because I realized like performing is such an essential part of being an artist. And so I thank him for that. And I forget what the other one was. But
no, it's all right. It's just like, just RIP to like Existentacion and whole. You're still inspiring people to this day. And just let people like Nipsey Hussle or X or Tupac and Biggie Smalls, they just keep pushing me as an artist and everything. But they also paint a cautionary tale that you got to be careful, especially be very self-aware, or else these things are gonna happen to you, bro. Because like X, Nip, and Big and Tupac should still be here today, but their lives were cut short due to jealousy and gun violence. So it's just like we need to really start pushing more positivity, and I feel like that's what Charlotte needs to really build the foundation on as a whole too. Like let's just get past the negativity, no more jealousy, which is a very effeminate trait and other dudes. It's just like, don't be a jealous type dude, bro. Like, come on. Everybody will get their turn when it's time. Just keep clapping, keep praying, and you're going to make it to the other side. Yep. So going in deeper into your art and everything, looked over a couple songs like Rock Bottom, Rising Star, Nothing Matters, The End, Mickey Mantle, and One Time. I noticed that a pattern in regards to a lot of your songs is like, I noticed like a pattern of angst over being stuck. I noticed. Would you want to speak more about that?
I've heard that before, actually. I actually heard that recently, and I like that, and I love that because I love angsty music. So it's cool to me that that's also what I'm giving. You know what I'm saying? On the one hand, it does kind of feel like I wish I could like maybe move on from my internal struggle and like rap about other stuff. But like this is just what's real to me, and it's so like in my face sometimes that I kind of can't ignore it, which is why I just wind up rapping about it, because making music, writing, and rapping is my form of expression, so it only makes sense that I'm going to express myself about the things that are currently on my mind.
Okay, wonderful. Have you ever checked out Lil Peep? I'm not sure if you listen to Lil Peep.
I like Lil. I like a couple songs by Lil Peep, but I'm not like a huge fan, to be honest. It's just something about it just doesn't feel like, I just don't really like it as much. I'm not saying Peep's a bad artist.
Okay, no, of course.
There's a couple of songs by him that I'm like, that's hard. Yeah. But like I've heard like some of his songs, it just feels like, I don't know.
Oh, we good? Just want to check it. All right, cool. Just want to check it for the 20-minute mark. Yeah, man, it's just like I didn't get too deep into Lil Peep, but I did watch the documentary on Hulu and everything. I'm not sure if you checked it out.
Okay, I'm gonna check it out.
But it's have you checked out the X documentary?
Absolutely.
Okay, yeah, but they got something like that off that end.
I love that.
They also got a documentary of Tekashi 69 as well.
I saw that one too. I saw that one too. I thought that one wasn't as well done, but it was still a good documentary. It was very informative. He wasn't even a part of his own documentary.
Really?
He wasn't even in it. Yeah, like he didn't get interviewed. You know what I mean? Oh. So like it was more so from a guy that was like from his neighborhood who like or an area around him.
So it was kind of biased to a certain degree from like an outsider type perspective. Insider type information.
You would just have to watch it for yourself and kind of conclude your own thing. I don't want to like sway you in one
I'm gonna have to check it out again. I didn't even notice.
You didn't even notice.
The dude's alive still. Yeah. Like why did I not notice that? But anyway, it's just like one thing I really like about your music is that there's a lot of guitar riffs of melancholic type. 2 seconds. One more 20 minutes. All right, cool. We should be able to wrap things up by then. Sweet. But it's like there's just something I want to go. All right, no problem.
That'd be perfect because that'd be 640.
No, seriously. I appreciate you for commenting. For real.
I love this. We definitely got to do this again.
Yeah. Oh no, it's coming. It's coming very, very soon because this is just too enjoyable. I just want to make sure everything's going
for sure.
Go on this side too. You good? You set up? Yeah, this happens a lot. Okay, you want to pause the recording too, or? Gosh, I'm gonna have to edit so much stuff out. Yeah, just for a little bit. All right.
It's been flying by.
It really has, bro. That's
how I feel about interviews every time I do them.
No, seriously.
We good?
Oh, we're good? Good to go? All right, cool. Part 3. All right. All right, so anyway, we're speaking about the guitar riffs and melancholic type tone and everything, especially with the new single Nights and stuff like that. So it's like when you create music, what would you say is your source of inspiration internally? I know you mentioned like real life and everything.
So are you tying that into the question, like tying that into the melodic type beats? Like what inspires me to do that? Yeah. So I mean, I know this is one of your questions, so I don't mean to jump ahead, but
no, it's okay.
Like with Pretty Boy Dilly, that's somebody, a great friend of mine. We've been friends since we were in high school. We've collaborated on so many songs. It's like a ridiculous amount. But with me and him, I think we've just kind of found a sound that we both are like, that we both agree on. And we've practiced in that sound so much that is so natural that like when I just need a quick, like I know this isn't going to be too much of a challenge. This is me in my comfort zone. I go to that type sound. Because it can be both sad and like impress on your heart, but then it can also be like lit. Like if you listen to the subject matter of Nights, it's a pretty inspiring song, the things I'm talking about. So that's why I love those type of beats, because you can do both on them. You can be sad or you can be happy and it's going to come out sounding right. So I know he drew a lot of inspiration from No Cap, Rallo Rodriguez, that type of those type of artists who do those type of beats. And so, you know, and I've messed around with No Cap's music and Rallo's a little bit too, not as heavily as he has, but I would say like just being around Dilly doing so much on that type of beat, it became a part of me as well. And now like I love, it's a comfort zone for me.
Yeah, and it's really, really dope music for sure. Songs like that are so important because I feel like in this era, I feel like a lot of people don't know how to process their emotions. And I feel like, that's true. I feel like your music could really help people process times of like angst or grief or just stuff like that. And also being inspired as well. Would you say, what is the main messages you try to get across to your audience when you're making this music?
Yeah, I would say vulnerability. I think there's such a power in like being real. There's people who are going through things right now that they don't even realize they're going through until somebody puts a name to it and calls it what it is. And I think it's like, for me, the most like, don't get me wrong, lit music helps me a lot because whenever I'm down in that zone, I'm like, all right, let's get out of it. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm flipping bricks. You know what I'm saying?
Take your distraction from like all that.
Yeah, it can distract you, and that's equally as important. But the most meaningful music that I've ever listened to has been really raw, like kind of sad, but it's just that expression of like, this is a really hard time. I've gone through a lot of really hard times in my life, and I want to be able to help other people who are going through that as well, you know? So that's where that, you know.
Yeah, and that's a wonderful thing because energy can never be destroyed. It can just be like changed or redistributed. Some people can gain purpose from their harm and their hurt and everything, and can build things, you know. And I feel like that's what really pushed me to making my music with Ego Trip and everything. Like my whole project was based on just like the extremities of emotions through depression, so you know, dope. Which people could like, you know, really. I feel like, you know, I really touch on base. This is just like not living life in reverse. You know, you can't just be stuck in the past. just focus on your future. You can get a whole lot from just, just working hard and everything, but don't let it so distract you from your outside life. Sometimes there's a time to live, there's a time to feel like you're the best, and there might be times you might feel entirely worthless. Exactly. But just find a balance between the two where it's just like, where it doesn't create a facade. Just be like, this is what it is, this is how I feel, but I can feel like this too, and I can find balance within myself as well. So like, that's just what I hope that people take from my music and everything. Right. I'll send you a link in the future to be able to look over as well.
You said Ego Trip is what it's called?
Ego Trip. There's like 12 tracks on it, so it's like, I'll send you the SoundCloud because it's a lot faster. Cool. And everything. So it's just stuff like that. What I really appreciate about your music and everything, it's just like I spoke before, it's just like it's real, it's authentic, and I feel like that's the best thing about rap and hip hop. It's at its best when it's like at its most authentic. And everything. And I know you spoke about your friend Pretty Boy Dilly, which you've worked with a lot. Could you go deeper in like what your all relationship is like and everything? Because I know y'all first met in high school, correct?
Yeah, so our friendship has just developed so much since we first met. We met in high school. We were both we actually met through the girls we were dating at the time. They were sisters. So that's how we became friends. And then we just like, even after that, faded away, we stayed the same. We stayed connected. He moved to Alabama. He got locked up for a while, so there was a big absence in our friendship, which I think when he came back to South Carolina made us like this, because we hadn't seen each other in years, so we just couldn't get enough of each other. That's when we winded up making that album, No Love and the Hate. And that's whenever like I think we really started to do what we love, which is make music and like grow in our friendship. And then I moved to Charlotte, and that absence created an even deeper like thing in our friendship, because when I moved to Charlotte, he got married and had a child.
Oh, dope.
And so he has, just changed immensely becoming a father, and just seeing how his maturity level and his like values in life and his like ability to show up authentically, and then seeing like me pave the groundwork for us over here in Charlotte, because when I get on, he gets on.
That's good.
You know what
that's
I'm saying?
That's kind of like how I am with my friend Ziggy and everything. Well, she just had a kid back in July on the 29th and everything. So it's that's like, awesome. And it's a beautiful thing. Although he say he is going to be moving pretty soon, I think in September, because he works for the Army. So he has to relocate to Fayetteville and everything. But no matter how far he is, that friendship and that brotherhood will never change for sure. And I'll always be there for him and his kid whenever he needs it for sure. And that's just the thing about life, you're gonna go through changes and everything, but real authentic connections never change. And everything. So that's good that you have that mindset for sure. And it's just like a lot of people even spoke earlier about how people tend to turn Hollywood once they reach a certain level and everything. It's very important to build that foundation within yourself of authenticity, whether if it connects to your art, your relationships, and everything, because that's what keeps you whole throughout all of it. Wherever if it's you're at a very struggling time, or where if you're at a very fruitful time in life, always keep consistent to your values and your principles. And so on.
And that's something you had said that you love about the best type of hip hop is authentic hip hop. And so that's one thing that is very different about me as an artist. I go by my actual name, and my music is very authentic, whereas a lot of artists, and I love this, and I would even like to do this myself at some point, but a lot of people, they create an alter ego, and that becomes their artist name, and that becomes who they turn into when they perform, and that becomes... And I love that. I think it's awesome, and I want to do it myself too. But I've never really done that. I've always just been Sam Dinovo. I just show up as myself, and luckily it works for me. So,
the way I see it is because, like, my artist name is Toasty ESV, and the ESV stands for East Side Villain, or Ethereal Sage Villain, cool. Ethereal Sage Visions, and just so on from there. It's like OPP, just kind of make it out whatever you want out of it. But it's just things like that. Not saying I'm a villainous type person, but because of like what I've went through and the major fallouts I've had in relationships, where they paint me as like this this person or whatever. You know, I just own up to it. Okay, if that's what's considered being good, like being fake or whatever, being good, then I'm a villain. I'll just be that, being real and authentic. Yeah, and then just kind of flip it over type stuff. You know, just make something from nothing, turn a negative into a positive.
That's fire.
And then just
You're inspiring me right now for my future alter ego.
Yeah, and then you can put your values in some sort of way too. Like, you know, like if I were to separate, my other alter ego would be Tony Versetti, and that's where I'm gonna be releasing a lot of my more trap based type projects on through. And it's just like it'll be just more focused on the ambitious sides of the rap game and just trying to focus on trying to get my stuff together, what pushes me and my ambitions, whether if it's just be family, friends, or whatever, the money or the whatever, and just trying to find a separation between the two while also maintaining a balance in life as well. So it's like you can make a alter ego. It doesn't have to be based on being a completely different person, but just learning to separate within yourself what your focus is, or what your values and your principles in life, and just kind of separate them into that. You know, like how you say, like you like to listen to like lit music too, but you really feel more authentic when it comes to like the more melancholy type vibes and everything. That's where you're vulnerable at. You know, you just be like different sides of vulnerability or different sides of you as well. You know, there's multiple sides of many people, and you can just live it out through different personas in a sense. Not personas, but like just parts of you basically. Just trying to like kind of set that for you. You know, just go into things that you like, you know, and stuff like that. Maybe take a draw from that. Like, you know, for Tony Versetti in my case, I take it from Grand Theft Auto Vice City. Like the guy name was Tommy Versetti, and that was the very first video game player I ever played in my life, and I just always thought he was so cool with it. And then the Tony part takes from Tony Soprano, you know, like, you know, I relate to him.
That's what's up.
And then it's just like my father's name is Tony, so it's just like, you know, there's just so many different figures into one person. So you're drawing a lot. So it's like that energy I was just telling you about earlier. You can just draw from both sides without copying in a sense or biting off. They just take a different life, but they're all pouring into some sort of influence. So like, kind of get where I'm coming from.
Yeah, I totally get it.
Just something to keep in mind of. So it's like, so your track, your project, No Love and the Hate. What really inspired you to create those projects?
So the reason we call it No Love and the Hate is because we're from the 803.
Oh,
so the hate is a play on the 8. So instead of calling it the 8 like we normally do, we called it the Hate because at the time me and him felt abandoned. I think we never really exclusively said that, but I think we both were feeling very neglected and abandoned, and so we just felt like there was no love in the hate. You know, so it's like
no love in the 8, no love in the hate.
No love in the 8. So then we just said no love in the hate as like a play on words. So.
Okay, play on words, and then you pretty much draw from that energy of just like feeling abandoned. And what other emotions do you kind of tap into?
You know, at the time, drinking a lot of alcohol to cope with what we were going through. I don't drink anymore. Well, I'm sober, so. But I was definitely drinking real heavy at the time. I know we both were. And I think like. That was one kind of influence into the music and what makes it, you know, feel the way it does. I think, what was the question?
Basically, just pretty much what inspired you to just create this project and what emotions.
Yeah. I mean, we just had time, and I didn't have really anything else that I was looking forward to at the time. You know, I was working a job that, I mean, it was a job that it wasn't the worst job in the world, but I wasn't making much money, and it wasn't what I wanted to like spend all my time doing. This was like after work, I could go there. You know. You know, I was living at my mom's house at the time, and like it just felt more like home to be over there in a studio setting. And it was just a place where I could, you know, feel comfortable at. And then me and him it just gave us something to do. It gave us something to work on. It gave us a purpose.
Oh, okay, I see. And that was like your first project and everything. So it's like, what year did it come out again? It was like
2020.
2020. Okay,
2020.
So right around the COVID era, basically.
Exactly.
So a lot of those emotions I could pretty much relate to too. I feel like a lot of people were
going through
within the lockdown, you know, and everything. We had to lock away from other people, can't be around people. It was
different times.
Yeah, completely different time. But on to like the next project, Back Away.
Right.
I know it's just like, so like what energies were you taking and what inspiration were you taking to create
So
this project?
I'm glad that you asked that, because with Back Away, I know it gets taken seriously as my like first album, other than No Love and the Hate, but that's like my first solo album. But the thing about Back Away is the reason I called it Back Away was because it was a bunch of throwback songs and it was a bunch of throwaway songs. So these are songs that like I made, and like they're all right. They're not my best or my favorite, but like let me just put it out and see what happens. But then I think like I didn't realize that I had as much of a light on me as I did at the time. So people started like, you know, which is cool. I'm actually grateful for that. People started really checking it out and taking it serious. And I was like, whoa, hold up now. This ain't a serious project for me. So this next album, this is going to be my first real album.
Oh, okay.
But basically, there's some songs on there on Back Away that are 5 years old.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then there's some songs that were 6 months old. So it's in so many different areas of my life. So there wasn't a main like meaning or like there's no like, it was just a bunch of randomness thrown out there. Granted, I listened back to it and there's some good tracks on there. You know, I know Mickey Mantle, that's like a beloved song. People love that song for me, and that one came off there. And like, I'm still glad that I dropped it because it's content and it's something that people can like, you know, when they want to know more about me or they want to experience me more, they can go and see that. But I also think who I am today versus who I was at that point, I didn't have the same level of like clarity, confidence, and skill that I have now. So I'm ready for this next album the most.
Okay. One that really drew me about the song Late Shift is I had a song called Grave Shift.
Cool.
I have a song called Grave Shift.
So
I thought it was really, and the way you type shit was the same way I type shit.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay. Kind of brought it up to that.
Yeah, the artistic.
Little similarities there.
Yeah.
Tell me more about this next project that's coming up.
So I guess I'll go ahead and tell you the name. I don't have all the songs together yet, but it's going to be called Mixed Emotions.
Oh, nice. Okay,
So,
Mixed Emotions. They're like, what is the thought process of going to this project called Mixed Emotions? Like,
basically, I just want to put all my favorite songs from myself, like songs where I'm like, this is my best work. I want every song to be like this is my best work song. So I want this to be like my main album that I can go and like show to the people who could potentially hold the keys to a brighter future.
Oh, okay, nice. You can definitely do that because one, you're speaking into existence. One, that's always important.
Yep.
But it's just like, you know, at least you're going into this like, okay, I'm putting all my serious songs on this one. So it's like it's already set with a very strong foundation on that too. Right. So it's like, you know, how many tracks do you think is going to be on it?
I want to keep it kind of more on the short side, somewhere between like 7 and 11.
Okay, that could be very helpful too.
You know, just because I know people don't want to listen to 20 songs. You know what I'm saying? They don't. They want to keep it quick.
Not yet.
Not yet. Coming. They will. But yeah, so I just want to keep it kind of on the short side, and I want it to be like a perfect mix between like my sad, melancholy music and my lit turn-up music.
Wonderful. And closing, just want to ask, like, in the climate of hip-hop and where Charlotte is as a whole, where do you think we can pretty much find our place in hip-hop? Like, it's just like, where do you think our identities, what do you think could be like our place in hip-hop going forward? Could we be a major city or just more like a slept-on city? Like, where do you think we can go?
I have doubts about Charlotte, but I would love to see those doubts proven wrong. But I don't know exactly what place we'll play in it. I think we might be able to bring back more of the artistic rap. You know what I'm saying? Where it's more like for the love of the art. That's what I keep saying, because that's one thing about Charlotte that I love so much about performing here is like, it's just people who love creating, and it's so genuine, authentic, and untampered with. Like, it hasn't been like soiled with like, you know, outside expectations. So it's still raw and real right now, and I love it, and I hope that it's able to translate into an international way.
Wonderful. And last question. All right, Sam Dinovo, where do you see yourself in 5 years in regards to this hip-hop situation?
I see myself on major stages. I see myself traveling the country, potentially traveling the world, and I see myself selling like concerts with 20,000 people in it. You know, I see myself with a merch line. I see myself with a big fan base, and I see myself being a leader.
Yeah, no, definitely. Most definitely. One way that kind of helps you become a leader is like we spoke about humility and everything. I feel like to be a good leader, you got to be real humble and really patient. That's I feel like you got all that locked down for sure.
Appreciate it.
And I feel like your music is very authentic, so a lot of people fall with that, you know, like with a fan base like Russ or Logic. They all appreciate their authenticity. Yeah. Although some people find it annoying on their end, like, you know, for real, like I think it's very inspirational and everything. And that's just kind of how how I want to be with my fan base. You know, with Excess Tentacion or Russ or Logic, is that they have a really tight fan base, and it's just like I feel like being famous is one thing, and like sure it could help, but I just want to build a good, decent fan base that connects to my music and knows what I'm about and what I want to put out there, what energies I want to put out there. So I feel like you can inspire a lot of people, and then they would really look up to you and get inspired by our music as well.
I appreciate that a lot.
Yeah, I appreciate you for hopping onto the Mental Threads podcast,
awesome.
bro.
I can't wait to do it again.
Yo, I can't wait to upload it and just edit it and just do what I got to do. I feel like it was a pleasure speaking with you and everything. You have a bright future ahead of you, and I feel like you would be a very huge pillar in bringing eyes to Charlotte, North Carolina as a whole and everything. Is there any last words you want to go off on before we head off?
I think that's it. Nights by Sam Dinovo is out now. I don't know when this will be uploaded, but we do have an event coming up Friday, August 9th. It's Brat Stall Night. I'll be performing along with Rockstar VR and Spaz. So if this is out by then, show up. B Cinema Studios, 516 East 15th Street. You should come.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. Just send me the info. I'll be sure to pull up.
I got you.
All right, thank you. That's it for 157th episode of the Mental Threads podcast. Sam Dinovo, thank you for hopping on. We are sewing in, and now we're sewing out.
Let's go.
Yes, there we go. Thank you. Thank you very much.
That was solid.
Oh, yes, and we